The morning was dark, even though the sun had already climbed above the hills. A thick grey sky hung over the little village like a heavy blanket that refused to lift. The wind beat at Daniel's cheeks, making them red and sore. His thin sweater, worn and torn at the elbows, did little to keep the cold away. In his small hands, he clutched a basket of oranges. They were bright and round, glowing like tiny suns against the dull and lifeless day. The smell was fresh and sweet, but Daniel knew better than to taste even one. The oranges were not his. They belonged to the woman waiting at home, the woman he was forced to call stepmother. His real parents had been gone for 3 long years. Sometimes, in the quiet of the night, he still dreamed of his mother's gentle voice humming a lullaby. Her warm hands tucking the blanket under his chin. In the dream, he felt safe. But morning always came too soon, and with it came the sharp voice of his stepmother, calling him to work. That day had begun no differently. "Don't come back until every single one is sold," she had warned, her eyes cold. "And don't you dare eat any. If you do, you will regret it." Now Daniel stood by the side of the busy road, where cars and motorbikes rode past. Their tires splashed muddy water that spotted his trousers and soaked his shoes. He lifted his voice, trying to sound cheerful. "Buy oranges, sweet oranges." But most people didn't even look at him. His stomach growled so loudly that it almost startled him. He had eaten nothing since the evening before. The smell of fried food drifting from a nearby shop made his mouth water painfully. He hugged the basket close, trying to ignore the ache in his belly. Hours passed slowly. His legs began to ache from standing. The sky, which had been grey all morning, grew even darker, as though evening had come early. A cold mist rose from the ground, making the air heavy and damp. Then he felt a light tap on his shoulder. Daniel turned to see Sam, his only friend in the world. Sam was a little older, wearing an oversized shirt that flapped in the wind. His eyes were warm, and his smile seemed to fight the sadness of the day. "You look hungry," Sam said, holding out a piece of bread. "Here. Eat this." Daniel hesitated, glancing around nervously. "I can't," he whispered. "If she sees." "Just eat," Sam urged. "You need strength." The bread smelled too good to refuse. Daniel took it with shaking hands, tore off a small bite, and chewed slowly. The taste filled his mouth, soft and warm, chasing away the cold for a brief moment. But the moment did not last. Across the road, he saw her, his stepmother. She was standing still, arms crossed tightly, her eyes sharp and burning. Back at home, she said nothing at first. She simply reached for a thin stick leaning against the wall. The first strike landed across his back with a sharp sting. "Thief," she shouted. "You eat food from strangers. You think I will feed you after that? Go back. Sell them all. Even if it rains, you will stand there until they are gone." Tears blurred Daniel's eyes, but he did not speak. She shoved the basket into his hands and pushed him out the door. By the time he reached the roadside again, the rain had begun. At first, it was light, gentle drops tapping against the oranges. But soon it grew heavy, each drop cold and stinging. His sweater clung to his skin. Water dripped from his hair into his eyes. Still, he called out, his voice weak and breaking. "Buy oranges, sweet oranges." The road was wet and shiny under the grey sky. Cars passed, spraying dirty water on his legs. People hurried past with umbrellas, not even glancing his way. Then it happened. A blinding flash of headlights cut through the rain. A loud horn blared. Tires screeched on the wet road. Daniel froze in the middle of the street, his small body stiff with fear. The basket slipped from his numb fingers. Oranges tumbled out, rolling into puddles, their bright color glowing against the dark, wet road. A car door slammed. A man ran toward him, his voice sharp at first. "Young boy. What are you doing under the rain?" Daniel couldn't answer. His chest rose and fell in quick, shaky breaths. Tears streamed down his face, mixing with the rain. The oranges lay scattered around him, shining like tiny suns under the streetlights. The man's voice softened. "Where are your parents?" Daniel's lips trembled. They're gone," he whispered. The man looked at him for a long time, rain pouring over both of them. There was something in his eyes now, something Daniel hadn't seen in years. It was warmth. It was care. And in that cold, wet moment, Daniel felt a small spark of hope. Maybe this meeting was the start of a different story. One where he would not always be cold, hungry, and alone.